Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Life Stories. My name is Trent and I hope you guys are all doing awesome as always. Today we got some stories coming at you from Reddit/entitledparents. So without further ado, let's get it started. Our first story of the day is titled, Entitled Dog Parent Yells at Me Because I Told Her That Her Pit Bull Needs to Be Muzzled. So I, an 18-year-old female, work as an office assistant/secretary at a veterinarian office. Since I mostly just check people and schedule appointments and stuff for their pets, I'm not certified in animal care or anything. A few months ago, we had this one lady, let's call her S, come in with her medium-sized pit bull mix. I check her in, and on her dog's file, it says he has a past history of being aggressive towards the vet and vet techs. This means that he's required to have a muzzle on before going into the room with the vet. This is the conversation that follows. Hey, looks like the dog has a past history of being aggressive towards the vet, so he's going to have a muzzle on before he goes into the room. Do you have one with you?
No. I don't have a muzzle with me. He won't need one.
I'm sorry, ma'am. He's going to have a muzzle on before the vet can look at him. It's the rules. We have some that we can use for the appointment.
Why? Is it because he's a pit bull? He's just a big baby and wouldn't even hurt a fly. This is discrimination against pit bulls.
No, ma'am, it's not because he's a pit bull. His file says he's been aggressive towards the vet before. A lot of dogs don't like the vet, so it's pretty common for them to have to be muzzled, regardless of the breed. We've had to muzzle Chihuahuas before.
My dog just doesn't like the vet to be touching him or messing with his body parts. Just tell the vet not to do that, and he won't bite like last time.
Ma'am, how is the vet supposed to do his job if he can't touch the dog? He needs to make sure everything is working right.
I don't care. My dog is not going to be muzzled, and that's final. You are discriminating against my little baby dog because he's a pit bull. I can't believe that I'm facing this kind of harassment for owning a pit bull at a vet's office, for God's sake.
We went back and forth like this for a while. I kept telling her that her dog isn't going to see the vet until he has a muzzle on, and she kept telling me that he didn't mean it and that I was saying that he's aggressive because he's a pit bull. Eventually, she put a muzzle on the dog, and he apparently acted fine and non-aggressive with the muzzle on. But since he was aggressive once without the muzzle, he will still have to be muzzled for future appointments. She ended up filing a complaint against me because I was discriminating against her and her dog, but it never really went anywhere. She has another appointment next week, so that's going to be fun. And what's interesting is the OP went and uploaded another story chronicling this next occurrence. So our next story is titled, Update on Entitled Dog Parent Who Yelled at Me. Hey, so this is an update on the entitled dog parent who yelled at me because I told her her pit bull needs to be muzzled. So the lady, S, had her appointment today. It didn't go so great. Like many businesses these days, due to everything that's been happening, we have no mask, no service policy. This means I'm supposed to kick someone out if they aren't wearing a mask. We have a small supply for the staff, but we aren't really supposed to give them out. We also have limited staff, one vet tech, and I. When I saw S get out of her car without a mask, I knew she was going to be difficult. I didn't want to have to fight with her about it, so I get up and meet her at the door with the box of masks. This is how the conversation goes. Hey, how are you? Due to everything going on currently, we require that everyone wears masks inside. If you don't have one, we can provide one for you.
No, it's fine. I don't need one. Mine is in my car.
Okay, great. If you want, I can hold the dog while you go get it.
No, I actually won't be wearing one.
She then proceeds to try and move past me through the doorway. Ma'am, we have a no mask, no service policy. You cannot come in without a mask.
This is BS. Jesus, hold the dog.
She shoves dog's leash into my hands and storms off to her car to get her mask. When she comes inside, I start checking her in, and I see the note on dog's file that he was aggressive at a past appointment. A lot of comments said that I shouldn't phrase it as the dog being aggressive because it can upset the owners. Hey, so looks like the dog was a bit nervous at his appointment about 2 years ago and nipped one of the vet techs, so he's going to have to wear a muzzle during the appointment.
I went through this last time with that last receptionist. He doesn't need a muzzle. He was good at his last appointment.
Ma'am, he nipped a vet tech in the past, so he's going to have to wear a muzzle. Suddenly, a car comes tearing into the driveway, and a guy gets out with this tiny limp puppy in his arms. Obviously, I immediately go and get the vet. Vet comes out and meets the guy at the door, takes the puppy, and starts asking questions while they go to the back room. Meanwhile, her dog starts flipping out and pulling at its leash towards the puppy. Once the vet gets into the back and dog calms down, I start talking with her again. "Oh my god, I hope that puppy's okay. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you might have to wait for a bit. That looked like a pretty serious emergency. We can reschedule for later or tomorrow if you'd like." "I had an appointment." "Yes, ma'am, but an emergency case just came in and we only have one veterinarian in right now."
"How long is it going to take? I have to go to work."
"I have no idea, ma'am. That puppy looked like he was in rough shape. We can reschedule you if you'd like."
"Well, dog's appointment is today, so I want to see the vet now."
"Ma'am, you will not be seeing the vet right now. He's working on a critical patient. I don't know how long it will take, but it's probably going to be a few hours. So if you have to go to work, you should probably reschedule."
"I cannot believe this. My dog had an appointment, and your office isn't going to see him. I bet if he were as cute as that little puppy, you would. It's just because he's a big, scary pit bull, isn't it?"
"Would you like to reschedule? We have an opening for this time tomorrow."
"No, I don't want to reschedule my appointment that I am at right now. I cannot believe I'm being discriminated against again because my dog is a pit bull."
S proceeds to literally storm out like an actual giant child who didn't get her way after telling me she was going to find a new vet. She later called and scheduled her appointment for tomorrow, but luckily I'm not working. I'm reading this over, and honestly, it sounds fake, but I swear I can't make this stuff up. Sometimes I feel like I could write a book about the people I meet being a receptionist. For those worried about the puppy, the guy who brought it in had found it under his car in the 100-degree weather, and the poor thing was very overheated. Luckily, she should be okay, and the guy is probably going to keep her. You know, while I can somewhat sympathize with S because society has placed unfair blame on pit bulls for being over-aggressive, procedures are still procedures, and if a dog bites a vet tech, you gotta muzzle it. Moving along, our next story is titled, "EM and EK Try to Steal $200 Worth of Digital Downloads." The cast is me, AM, Awesome Manager, SM, Store Manager, SG, Security Guard, EM, Entitled Mother, ET, Entitled Teenager, and PD, Poor Dad. You all wanted the story, and here it is. This was my second year working at Walmart, and it was a slow day. I was browsing the area around electronics, so it was neat when management came around. And when I was by the DVDs, I noticed a few cases hiding behind some products. The DVDs were there and fine, but I saw the digital downloads were gone. This did throw me off a bit because usually people would just take the whole thing and leave the case. But no, just the downloads. So I placed them in the damage cart and wrote "Missing Digital Downloads." Plus, the packages were open, so we couldn't sell them because the disc could be damaged for all we know. As soon as some of my associates came back along with AM, he asked if anything happened. I told him about the DVDs, and he even got concerned because he also found some in the toys department. Electronics was between the toy department and the shoe department. But as the day goes by, we kept finding more and more. We kept an eye out for any suspicious activity until I saw a teenager, ET, buy one of the new releases on DVD. AM also saw this and called in one of the security guards to keep an eye on the teenager. And that's when we can hear someone opening and closing a DVD case. AM immediately took action and walked up to her. "Miss, may I ask you what you're doing?"
"I'm just browsing for something for my little brother."
She was rolling her eyes at him. AM noticed something small in her hand and one of the DVDs shoved into the back of the shelf with the case open. "I can't have you opening the DVDs."
"Well, how do I know if you're not going to sell empty cases?"
She was getting hostile very quickly. "I get that, miss, but you're still not allowed that." ET was getting very defensive until the SG was on site, and that's when I saw a woman coming down the aisle to stand by her. And that's when I knew it was the entitled mother.
"Is there something wrong, sweetie?" "Yeah, he's accusing me of stealing."
"Miss, me and my associate..."
"My daughter would never steal. How dare you accuse her of that?"
I was worried for AM because he was a retired veteran. I can't remember if it was Navy or National Guard, and he was prone to use his veteran voice if someone pushes him too far. I was almost on the receiving end of it one time, but he held it back. "Ma'am, I can see the downloads from the DVD in your daughter's hand." EM and ET were yelling at him, and at this point, it brought the store manager over, because he could hear the yelling from the shoe department. "OP, is something going on? I can hear yelling all the way from the shoe department." We've been finding open DVD products with the digital downloads missing, and AM found the culprit. He nods at me and walks over to AM, ET, and EM. AM, is everything all right?
Your manager is accusing my daughter of stealing, and I will not tolerate it. I demand him to be fired and be compensated of the stress he's putting us through.
As SM was going to ask AM, ET opened her jacket a bit, and there were tons of the digital downloads falling out from inside her jacket. I was shocked, as we were all witnesses of what just happened. SG was close by and looks at SM to give the signal, which was immediate. But SG has to call for backup because ET tried to run for it. SG caught her, but EM was now trying to get the guard to let go. Luckily, another SG showed up and got her too. We had to empty the jacket ET had, and she had over $200 worth of DVD digital downloads that were taken from their cases. We couldn't sell the DVDs, so they were put in for damages. AM had to call the police, and the cops had to take them away, and they were banned from other Walmarts as well. Even AM was wondering why someone would bother taking the digitals instead of the whole thing. I told him that it could be a scam she was doing by selling the digitals at a high price and ripping the people that buy them off by downloading the digital so they couldn't use it. Someone did this to our games to sell them at GameStop. He thought I had a good point, but just shrugs it off. I say to him, I was afraid you were going to go flippy on them. AM just laughed and said he handled worse and told me to keep it up. He called me Baby of Electronics. We all had nicknames, and I was dubbed that because I was the youngest member there, and props to those that got the Flippy reference. As the day went by, I saw a man walk up to the counter, and I asked how I could help him. PD says, "Hello, I'm the father of ET and EM's husband. I just wanted to apologize for what they did." "It's okay, sir. They should know better, and it is what it is." Turns out he was divorcing EM and was trying to get custody of ET because EM was a toxic woman. But he couldn't get custody due to financials and is trying to find a better job. PD tried to offer to buy the DVDs his daughter took the digitals from, and I told him I couldn't do that. PD kept insisting, but I told him I would get in trouble, and he lets it be. I haven't seen PD since I've worked there, so I hope he's doing good and gotten custody of the daughter. I always feel like it's equal parts sad and cathartic when one of these Karen stories ends and the husband comes in and apologizes for them. It's like, well, at least one half of the relationship is sane. Anyways, with that out of the way, we are out of time for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of you so much for tuning into Life Stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Reddit content coming your way. My name is Trent, and I hope to see you guys soon.